the zodiac season energy forecasts. I have been wanting to re-enliven this offering for some time, and I finally stopped making excuses and just made the time. Like, even this morning, coming to arrive here after having had very full days and really beautiful offerings occur, I was like, is this really the day I should be doing this? But yes, it is. And so here I am, wherever you are finding this and arriving here, whether it is going to be today, Sunday, the 19th of April, or a future timeline. Thank you for spending time with me, for reflecting back the desire and the space and the need for this offering. I have looked back at previous zodiac season forecasts that I've done, and they have been blessings to me, and I'm the person facilitating them. So I really trust that whoever finds these words and these messages um, will be supported. So, um, the format of this forecast for the Taurus season, which runs the 20th of April to the 20th of May, it's going to be in the format of a reverse reading. So I'm going to pull out cards of my chicken tarot deck that correspond to Taurus, and then I'm going to pull more cards to help us glean insight of how that Taurian energy from the major and minor arcana could show up in our lives this season. Um, I am going to go briefly over some Taurus correspondence and how I interact with Taurus energy as a psychic, as an intuitive, but also as a body worker. And then we'll just go right into the messages. And I will be time stamping everything. So let me start my first timestamp. So I want to go over Taurus correspondence. Taurus is corresponded to the element of earth, and it is fixed energy. So Taurus season arrives in the sun cycle where we are at the most concentrated and fixed energy of the season. We are currently in Ostara. We had the spring equinox in March, and we are going to click over into Beltane, which is really the seat of this in between spring and the first opening and beginnings of summer. So Taurus energy, that fixed earth, corresponds to Beltane and a little bit of Ostara. Taurus is governed by the planet Venus, and I like to refer to these governing planets as the parent. Taurus is parented by Venus. This is the celestial body who raised Taurus and informed a lot of energetics for the sun sign Taurus. In anatomical and physiological astrology, Taurus is associated with like this area of the body, the lower jaw, the tongue, the mouth, the larynx, the throat, and then that kind of extends in, you know, other areas of the body. But I'm not going to go too deep into that, just to keep this forecast not extremely lengthy. So Taurus correspondence. I'm going to just start pulling cards out of the deck that relate to Taurus, which are the Empress card, card number 3. It has very, very strong Venusian energy, but it also has the earthy tone and the earthy element of Taurus. So in the Chicken Tarot, this is what it looks like. I really love the artwork on these cards, and I just appreciate the colors and the textures. So I'm going to continue pulling these cards out and talking about them. So major arcana, we have the Empress associated with Taurus. And then in the minor arcana, we have the 5, the 6, and the 7 of Pentacles, representing this fixed earth energy in the minors. And these minors, how they correlate to Taurus, they also speak to the different deacons, the different sections of Taurus season as it spans from April 20th to May 20th. And I'm going to talk about the more in-depth planetary correspondences once I get them out here. So there we go. We have the 6, we have the 5, and we have the 7. And I just remember there is an honorable mention in here that I do want to touch on, which is the Queen of Coins. So I have been reading tarot for about 10 years, and I've been professionally, I use that term very loosely, offering tarot for friends and clients and such since like 2018, 2019. And so, in my journey with the tarot and in my relationship with these cards, I have formed a relationship, if you will, with certain cards and how they correspond for me personally. And the Queen of Coins is one of those cards that really does express to me Taurian and Venusian energy. The Queen of Coins to me is like the little sister, the mirror card of the Empress. And so I am going to pull a card for this one as well to see how that energy will show up. So the 5, 6, and 7 of coins all correspond to Taurus energy. The 5 of coins corresponding to like that first deacon of Taurus energy, the first few weeks, few days of Taurus season. And this energy, the 5 of coins, to me is like Taurus and Venusian energy. And I'm going to go deeper into that as we get in. So 6 of coins, the second deacon, the middle range of the dates that Taurus season encompass, we have the 6 of coins. And this would be Taurus and Mercury energy. And this is how I interpret it. And then our final, the 7 of coins, the third deacon, the third actual dates of Taurus season, like that last bit, 7 of coins, and this corresponds to Taurus and Saturnian energy. So we have all of our players out here, and I'm going to pull more cards just to tease this out a bit more. So I'm going to timestamp as we begin the reading. We are going to start with the Major Arcana, which is the Empress card, and I'm clarifying and deepening this energy with a deck that I really love. It's called When Olga Speaks, and it's by Sasha Lopez. I will tag her here in the caption so that if you'd like to connect with her and follow her work, that you can. Okay. So we're getting into the reading for this Taurus season energy forecast. Everything that I'm going to cover from here forward are energies, themes, that could potentially show up in your life over the next few weeks, April 20th to May 20th. And this is to support us as we navigate and we traverse the sun cycle, the Taurus sun season, and everything that it brings energetically. Okay, so starting with the Empress. The Empress card represents the ability and the energy and the constitution to be able to bring raw materials into a new physical form. Whether you are a person who identifies as a woman and you have the constitution to actually birth a human, that's what this would be speaking about. I also get like makers, like I very much feel like carpentry. You're able to take raw wood materials and to create a chair, a table, a desk, a door, a home. Any type of profession or hobby or extracurricular activity that has you transform raw materials into a new physical embodiment encompasses Empress energy to me. Empress energy is also a an indication that you are seated comfortably in terms of your material world, whether that is finances or your home dynamic, and you're able to like live off the land, be provided for by the land, give back to the land. This also to me speaks of being seated and supported in terms of community, whether that is the community that you live with or the community that you, this be. Okay. Speaking of Empress energy, the message that I was trying to finish was this: whether you are seated in a community dynamic, like co-living on land with other people, and there is a very rooted reciprocal exchange that happens, or whether this is speaking of like you being the head of the household or the supporter of the household, and there being this very like abundant and comforting template and dynamic. And even if the things that I've just described don't currently resonate with like how you are feeling currently with your living situation, with your finances, or being a creator, I do feel that Taurus season is inviting us into that frequency. It's inviting us into how can we seat further into our creative ability and to transform these raw materials into something completely different, or how can we see ourselves differently in our finances, in our abundance, in our home dynamic, in our relationship with land. So we're going to tease this out a little bit more. I'm like I'm probably perceived as I'm holding it all together, but I'm still shook up by the loud vibration of the bee visitor that we had. um, but that's just how it goes. So going further into Empress energy, right? And the card that jumped out, we have community, which I was like literally just talking about. So, this Empress energy, as it pertains to our Taurus season that's coming up, is really about how can you feel like the Empress, the creator, the participant in abundance in your life as it relates to community. To me, this is really taking some time to reflect. Like Taurus energy being like this fixed earth energy, I don't get a lot of action with this card. Like I don't get like travel to meet new community, or actively like initiating new efforts to be able to conjure and connect with people. To me, this is like tending the pre-existing relationship dynamics. This is sitting and reflecting on like who is here in my community, who is here in my neighborhood, what is actually already happening here, and how can I be more involved. It's kind of looking at what's in front of you versus potentially looking outside of yourself as at what is not present, or what are these other neighborhoods and communities doing that maybe I'm missing out on. That is not where this energy wants us to focus. This energy is to actually what is in your reach, what is in your zip code, what is in your area, because it's very rich. And there is something in terms of community that you already have something that you can contribute, and there is something there for you to receive as well. Like, this gives the energy that there is more than enough in terms of community in the ways that you seek it and desire it at this time in your life. It's just a matter of kind of slowing down and really looking at what's in front of you. I am so strongly brought to this energy and this idea of like co-living and collaborating. So Taurus season could bring about opportunities of like moving on to land with other people, or people moving on to the land you live on, or you like helping tend to the land of other people helping you tend to the land you live on. I very much get this energy of like going outside of the norm of what we are taught societally, of like you have to have a certain amount of money to access being of service or receiving service. Like, this really feels like returning to an old way of interacting with fellow earth tenders and neighbors and people that we share space with, of being able to be like, hey, I have this amount of energy, I can help you do this thing, and in exchange, what do you have? Like, it feels like kind of paring things down to a very organic state in terms of how we relate to each other in community, and in how we relate to each other as community, like tending land, and implementing new ways this season. So I'm going to go ahead and shift into the next card. I'm actually not going to timestamp that. We're just going to have this all be one big old chunk of the reading. So next, I want to do our honorable mention, which is the Queen of Coins energy. To me, this is like the little sister of the Empress energy. So it carries a lot of that same template of being someone who is able to take raw materials and transform it. And also it speaks of like the dynamic of being seated in a frequency of abundance, that your basic needs are taken care of financially and in all the ways to be able to like go to sleep, wake up, have water, have food, have a vehicle, like basic needs is comfortable. It's just not as a high frequency as the Empress. The Empress is like, not only are you seated in that energy, you are in some way impacting your community, you are in some way impacting society. The Queen of Coins to me is like, you are definitely impacting yourself, the quality of your life, but also the quality of those who are immediately um, connected to you, like in your family, in your friends, and in your home. So let's see how this energy could show up. There is more emphasis too with the Queen of Coins versus the Empress to me on like actual finances, of like, what do you do in your life that brings in your money? Like, what is your occupation? What is your craft? What is your gift? Like, what are people exchanging money for? And what are you providing? Okay, so let's tease this out a little bit more. I very get with that, like financial comfort. Like, what does financial comfort look like to you? And then, do you feel you are in true alignment with that? And I get that there could be edits made to what that looks like and what you think it should look like. And then I also get a deeper devotion. This season could bring about support to allow you to more deeply devote yourself to what you hope that financial like abundance could look like, the financial availability of money, and even how you steward it. Like, if you have the desire to shift how you interact and save and invest and circulate your money, this is going to be a really great season to help you revamp if that's desired. for those who already have like a really great system and relationship with their money in place, this season could potentially offer you the ability to, like, the way it's coming through is like dig deeper grooves, like deepen the existing channels of income that you have. And so, yeah, let's pull more. Synergy. This is giving me kind of community vibes again as well. But I really like that it's talking about synergy as far as like how are different different elements blending together. Synergy always makes me think of aromatherapy, um, and blending, creating formulas, because you know that you have a really good aromatherapy blend or formula when you smell it and nothing is clashing. Synergy is when the different chemical and plant constituents all blend together really well and there isn't something sticking out of that formula like a sore thumb. And so, bringing that analogy into what we've talked about with the Queen of Coins, I feel like you could potentially experience synergy in terms of your finances this season, especially for those who have like multiple streams of income, multiple jobs, or even like the household you live in. If it's like two or three or more adults and you all have different jobs, but you all are supporting the household, there's a deeper synergy that is a very high potential for this season. And what I like about this energy is that I don't feel that this synergy is it's something that is going to be very accessible for all of us, but I also feel like this energy comes as a result of having conversation. There could be a deepening in pre-existing channels of like how you receive money because deeper conversations are happening as well as deeper truths. I feel like the Queen of Coins is inviting and bringing this energy for the season of us to be more deeply honest and more deeply transparent of like our physical and financial desires and needs for our life. And I feel like that honesty first and foremost comes for us. Like, how can I get really honest about what I think I need financially and materially in my day-to-day life? And then as a result of that, it embodies an energy that we can then have these really honest conversations with those that we live with or those that we provide work or energy services with, so that way the energy of how we relate to money can be in a truer frequency. Because there I do feel it now that there is a bit of a dissonance for whoever will be hearing this and resonating with this part of the message. You currently could be experiencing dissonance in like the money that's coming into your life and how it's being distributed, and also a dissonance in like who you share household with and how like the money is talked about or how the money is dispersed and allocated. And it doesn't feel like um a huge opposition. There's just like it's really close to being synergistic, but there is still a level and an energy of dissonance. And so that dissonance is going to synergize potentially this season. Okay. Let's get into the minor arcana. So I'm going to actually break the timestamp up here. So minor arcana correspondences, again, we have the Five of Coins, Taurus and Venus energy, Six of Coins, Taurus and Mercurial energy, and then we have the Seven of Coins, Taurus and Saturnian energy. And we're going to start with the five. So the Five of Coins, traditionally in tarot, it can correspond to like you're having a hard time. You're feeling left out in the cold. Maybe you're basic. financial material needs are not being met, or you're having a lot of like mental concern about your finances. In this moment today, especially with this deck and this depiction, I feel that this season is inviting us to kind of like clear stories and clear worries and clear concerns that actually are not a real factor today. Like maybe you've had a history of like misappropriating finances or misappropriating material possessions or assets, or maybe you had people in your life close to you, living with them, that had those characteristic traits. I feel that this card coming up for this season is saying that we're kind of done with that shit. Like, we are done having that relationship personally with ourselves of misappropriating money, finances, resources, misappropriating like how we utilize and tend to our body. And we're done having people in our lives who exude and embody that energy. It's very much giving like spring cleaning and tidying in how we have like a daily internal dialogue with ourselves and interact with our money and our material possessions, but also like who we really have close to us, and how are they living? Are they living in a way that we aspire to, or that we resonate with, or that we are in alignment with? Like, this very much gives me the vibe that not necessarily that friendships are ending or like community relationships are ending, but there is a spaciousness that will be enacted because the recognition of this person isn't really living in a way that allows me to feel like I'm in right relationship with myself and my money and my finances. So I need a little bit of space so that I can have discipline and devotion with how I'd like to show up and be. Um, I'm going to pull another card to tease this out a little bit more. Um, Taurus and Venus energy to me is, it speaks about our relationship with our body. It speaks about our relationship with our finances, but also like our comforts and relationships. And so we have the hidden self coming out with the 5 of coins. And so I talked quite a bit about, clearing um, these ways that we are still embodying stories, or that we are intentionally like mismanaging our resources, or allowing people to be close to us who are not in alignment with how we do want to be. And to me, this is like there is a hidden version of ourselves that we know has always been within us, of the way it's coming through is like the dream self, like the dream self associated with the dream life. And I don't mean this in a like fantastical, um, ungrounded way. I mean this in like, what is your grand vision for your life? Like, what is that grand dream of like how you'd like to positively impact yourself and others, and how you'd like to live in the world? That is the dream self. That is the hidden self. And I feel like this self is being invited forward this season. And the 5 of coins speaking about um, kind of like making the space in those relationships with people who aren't in alignment with this version of yourself being revealed. The people who, for whatever reason, maybe can't accept that version of you. Like, they are more comfortable and can accept the version of you that misappropriated your finances, misappropriated your material assets. Um, Whatever the dynamic is, this is an indicator that this dream self, this dream life, this grand vision of your life is in you. It is a seed. And the more time and attention you give it is the water, and is putting it in soil, and is giving it the nutrients it needs to actually sprout and bloom. This combined energy, for me, is also saying that we are being invited this season to take greater accountability for what we have in our life and what we don't have in our life, and like how can we rearrange our time and our energy and our attention and our money so that it's actually going to lead us to this dream life, this grand vision of how we'd like to be in our relationship with our body, in our health, in our romantic and professional and personal relationships. Everything that we could ever dream of and desire, it's all bundled up waiting in here. And I feel like for some of us, it has been hidden. Some of us will be learning over the next few weeks during this season of our potential, potential that we could have never dreamed possible, and then start implementing the changes in our day to day life and workflow and relationships and friendships to support that. Okay, we are going to go into the Six of Coins, Taurus, and Mercurial energy. So the Six of Coins is balance. It's also reciprocal energy. It is a balanced give and take. Um, and specifically in terms of like health and the body, but also finances or services given, services received. Um, to me, this is speaking about the balance that we will feel potentially in our bodies or in our physical world or in our finances in the coming weeks of Taurus season. The mercurial aspect of it, to me, comes down to communication and systems. I feel like there is like a tidying of systems in terms of finances, your health, your routine, your schedules, that is going to help allow balance. This balance um, is potentially being bestowed upon us because of our input of what time are we allowing to rethink things, to implement things, to ask for help, um, and to offer help when it is accessible and it is available. Okay, so I'm going to tease this out some more by pulling another card. Okay. Um, Taurus and Mercury. My attention's being brought to people who potentially are prone to like headaches or migraines, especially tension headaches or migraines that are sparked from the jaw, like from clenching, um, clenching and like energy and stress held in the neck. I do feel like things potentially balancing out this season, but I feel like that is a result of stress management, of managing better the stresses in your life that you have control over. This could even come down to like the management of stress in your body, by way of moving your body or shifting like your health, your eating habits, etc., etc. Okay, that one kind of popped out as I was shuffling. We have the Elder. This is very interesting energy. I love that the moon is up here. So the Elder and the Six of Coins. You know, it's interesting as I'm looking at this image of this elder looking up into the sky. The sky looks like this elder is actually looking into water. Like this is a reflection of them looking into the water, and they're seeing a reflection of like what's above them, which is trees and the moon. This feels very connected to the hidden self. Um, this feels very connected to like the dream and dreaming. So for some people, and this may not apply to everyone, in terms of things balancing out in your physical life, financial life, living situations, relationships, this feels very much like a an actual living elder in your life could be supportive, like spending time sitting at the feet of an elder and listening and asking advice, asking for help. Like we did talk about, like a part of the energy of this balance is what part are we playing in that, and how are we bringing those scales into an equilibrium by what we have to offer or asking for help if we need it. And I do feel like this is asking for help from an elder that is related to you, an elder in your community. I also get like a tree, like sitting and speaking to the elders of the plant kingdom, which to me, all of them are. All of them have been around a lot longer than us and have a lot more wisdom than and resiliency than we do as these feeble human bodies. I also get for some people, like this is very like spiritual or religious and energetic, that you could be receiving like messages in dream or meditative state um, from a guide or a passed on loved one or an elder that maybe you knew, maybe not. Maybe it's like a deity or a higher power or a deva that just visits you in your dreams and is bringing like very real, tangible messages of how you can bring a desired balance in your life. Like maybe it's something this balance is something you've been praying for, in terms of your health, in terms of a relationship, in terms of finances or your home life, whatever it is that's been heavy on your heart. I feel like for some people, you could be getting messages in your dream from your higher power, God, spirit, universe, etc., etc. This elder energy, I really appreciate coming out with this Six of Coins, because I feel like it's really emphasizing the the ability or the potential of things balancing out. For some people, it's really important for you to ask for help. Like for some people, that is the missing piece. Is like, well, you're doing dot 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 dot, but have you asked for help? Have you put yourself in a position almost of like vulnerability and honesty to be like, oh, I actually can't do this alone, or I've been doing this alone and I haven't figured it out. Let me go and ask for help from maybe somebody who um, knows more about whatever the thing is, knows about finances, someone that I respect financially, someone that is in a healthy relationship that I can ask for their help and their advice, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like it could be gardening, like, oh, this elder in the community or this person who has this wisdom in terms of like how to navigate a certain soil component or a planting schedule. It's like reach out because these people are here. They are present in your community, which we've already touched on, and are available to you if you ask. And then also for some people, it's like already been coming to you in like lucid meditative and dream state of like how supported you are, and like actual material, actual tangible solutions and messages have been coming to you, and potentially you've just been writing them off. This elder energy very much gives me like elder, teacher, mentor. Maybe this is a sign that the balance you seek in your life is for you to step into the role of elder, teacher, mentor, or just put yourself in the path to receive and ask for help from a teacher, elder, mentor. Okay, so we have one more card rounding the corner here, the finish line. Um, we have the Seven of Coins, Taurus and Saturnian energy. This this card feels really great with um, Taurus and Saturn coming together, because that can be a very like stubborn, hard energy but it also is an energy of like deep devotion, deep discipline, deep commitment to plant something and then tend it regularly so that you can receive the fruits of your efforts, but then that the fruits of those efforts will continue to be fruitful and support you generationally. Saturn is like legacy energy. It is what we do and commit our time to, and how that will compound to create a return in some way for ourselves, for our family, for our community, in all the ways. Um, and then Taurus to me, with that energy, is like kind of the details. Like, how do you day to day commit to physical health, financial, relational details so that that long term Saturnian goal and investment can actually return? This is very much giving me like career vibes. You could potentially be shifting your career this season, or starting the conversation with yourself or others about shifting your career. This could be people discovering what their career or their dharma, their purpose is, and starting to idealize what that could look like, starting to organize details and systems so that you can put yourself in alignment to actually achieve and embody what you need to at this time to be able to put yourself in step with that career or that divine path, that destiny. So we're going to go ahead and pull more cards. Yeah, I feel really strongly the discipline and the devotion. I'm feeling that, like, for some people, what this occupation, this job, this career, this soul path, this soul calling, this soul purpose is, and you haven't been fully meeting it with the discipline and the devotion. And I feel like there are things that are going to change this season, Taurus season, that are going to allow you to have access to discipline and devotion, um, so that you can feel the fulfillment of being in alignment with your dream career, dream occupation, your soul path, soul led work, your dharma. Because I feel like up until now, for some people, how you've been viewing it is like like a very like Western civilization societal way of like I need to commit myself to this much work so that I can have this job, so that I can like show up and do this and that, so that I can make X amount of money. And I do feel like there is a shift and change in the view of that, of like, instead of it just being viewed as like what you are being required to like provide and give and outsource, you are viewing and looking of like all that you're going to actually receive from being in alignment with this soul led path, purpose, dharma work, this career, this dream opportunity. It's less about almost like what you would be losing and giving and providing, and all that you gain to receive. Yeah. Okay, let's see what else we get. That one felt like it wanted to come out. All right, we're going to pull two cards for this last one. The first card, okay, this is second. I'm not even going to look at it yet, just so that I don't get sidetracked. So the first card that came out with the Seven of Coins is transience. So this just kind of affirms what I was feeling in terms of a career change. Um, and like the actual career change itself, I don't feel will happen over the next few weeks. But I feel like the beginning The beginning energetic changes, the thoughts, the conversations, the planning is going to happen. And then like the strategy, like you're potentially going to be developing a strategy for the impending career occupation move, right? This transience energy just feels so energetic. It feels like um the best way I can describe it is like before your physical body moves into action, it's like the soul body moves. Like you start to kind of feel and sense into and envision, well, what could this feel like if I approached the change this way? What would it feel like if I approached it this way? It feels like daydreaming, but it's more productive than that. It feels like there is planning in the daydreaming. So that way, once you like daydream and strategize what feels really good, then the physical body, then the physical action will follow. And that action could be like giving notice, starting to submit applications, starting to look at different like courses or certifications that are available, buying a plane ticket, planning travel. But first things first, I feel like the coming weeks, it's about like the energetic movement to support the physical movement that will follow. I mean, in a way that just feels like needed support and affirmation for people who don't feel like they have permission to dream right now. Of like, oh, well, like, what would I do first? Or like, I need to just like move. And it's like, you don't need to physically do anything right now. Right now, give yourself permission to actually envision and strategize what would it look like and get detailed. And then ask for help if it's needed. Um, so that you can actually allow this hidden self to begin to be embodied. Um, yeah. So the second card, we have ease. I love this. So we have the seven of coins with ease and transience. We are making it much harder than it needs to be. Even the transition, whatever the physical impending transition of a home, work, occupation, like you're going from like a 9 to 5 job to your soul led work. You're transitioning in your life in a very big way to support yourself financially and also to support yourself in terms of like your legacy of like what you are going to eat off of and be provided for 10, 20, 30 years down the road, and what your family will be fed from, what your community will be fed from. It is a story that has to be hard. It is a story that you would have to like really struggle alone to be able to get yourself in alignment with that vision and achieve it. It is a story that you can't ask for help, and that there aren't people that you have access to right now that you can reach out to help you strategize and orchestrate what does that shift and that change look like. um and that you it is a story that you have to be burnt out. Like this to me is like the death of that whole hustle culture vibe of like you can have very clear discipline and devotion and work very hard, and you can also have time to rest. In a way, this feels like the end to generational stories and inherited um generational scarcity. Saturn energy is like it's also like the paternal lineage of our family. The men and the paternal patriarchal energy, but I feel like this is just a societal patriarchal energy of like you don't have to suffer to succeed. Um that you don't have to like fight tooth and nail and not have time to restore yourself or nourish yourself, that you have to be in pain, that there isn't space for rest or there isn't space to ask for help when you need it. Um, and I really love that this is coming up with the ease card because I probably wouldn't have anticipated it. And I know that what's coming through for the ease card is like a byproduct of the energy stirring of everything else that has come through. But this ease really just feels like rematriation and decolonization, that we are being invited this season to rematriate how we interact with ourselves and how we tend to our bodies and how we interact with community and our finances and our relationships and how we show up for our purpose work and how we show up for our dharma and our career and our occupations, and also just a restructuring of what is in our DNA and our subconscious beliefs around money and work and providing for a family and providing for community and taking care of our elders. There's a big reconstruction um, and recalibrating happening, all spinning around this axis of ease, of you can feel good in your body, you can have your basic needs met, you can be supported and loved and have a loving relationship while still also being in deep alignment with your legacy and creating a legacy that you can eat off of and support those that you love. So this is a really beautiful spot to close the reading. I was originally intending to save some space to do like any inquiries of the people that are here live, but this feels really good. This feels really contained and complete. And so thank you for being here. I'm really, really happy that I have showed up in devotion and discipline to recommit to this offering. And I really look forward to being back here and taking time to sit with these energies and offer this work in this way. So I will be back. I will be back for the Gemini season forecast. And if you were here live, thank you so much. You honor me and I appreciate you. And I will see you soon for the next reading.